2017, it's time to sit down and talk about the best comics of last year, 2016. It's New Year's Day, and I'm joined here with husband Liam. Hello, Liam.
Hello, wife.
Hello.
So it's, 8 a.m. on New Year's Day?
While other people are recovering after partying, Liam and I spent the evening watching Hobbit number 3, and he drew little hairs on my feet so I look like a hobbit.
Yeah, and Ping Pong Club and South Park.
So that's how we spend our New Year's. And then we spend New Year's Day each year making this video about the big banana in the sky.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa, yeah, there's another big banana this year, so...
It's a coveted prize that we give out every year to the best comics of the year. The big banana in the sky. So we're going to talk about our favourite comics of the year, our favourite one-shot, our favourite
single issue of the year, because this year was very, very strong for comics. It was DC did their whole rebirth thing, and I think they revolutionized comics in a way that they started doing them twice monthly.
Yeah, but it was also annoying.
It was annoying, but it was a huge gamble, but I think it paid off for them maybe in the short term. Like, I'm keen to see how it will go in the years ahead.
As a retailer, it was frustrating because we had so many people excited to read Rebirth and jump on all these new comics, but because they came out so many times a month, it became overwhelming. And even for us,
I had to drop my Image comics and also my Marvel and wait for trade, because it got to that point where every time I looked at my pool for each week, it was just a huge stack of DC.
It was always DC.
And I felt like I was always catching up. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a brave move for DC. I think it's incredibly brave. I hope they don't wear all their creators thin, though. So, yeah.
We also had some unfortunate deaths within the comic book community of Darwin Cook and Steve Dillon. It was a big shock to us in the comic book community. They will be sorely missed. So it's been a big year for DC. We've lost a lot of great creative talent. And we've also had a lot of newcomers coming into the industry, coming into the business. New series coming out from Image. Smaller companies like Aftershock and Black Mask coming into the run.
I honestly think it's the year of the independents this year. They've really nailed it. You'll find that over the previous years, Image have really taken the lead, but now you're seeing Boom and a lot of independent, like Scout and also Black Mask as well. It just, like, Black Mask proved themselves with Space Riders, and now they've got We Can Never Go Home and Aftershock with Black Eyed Kids, and yeah.
They're killing it. So, without further ado, after chatting about what happened this year, it's time to talk about what's happening in comics, our favourite comics for the year. Yeah. Shall we start off? These are they are in a particular order. We're going to count down 1 for 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, and number 1 being the best. But before we get to that, let's talk about our favourite single issue of the year.
So my favourite single issue of the year has to go to Godzilla in Hell. So as long-time Godzilla readers will know, the series has had its ups and downs, with its high point being the Godzilla Half-Century War by
James Stacco, same dude that did this.
Yep, and so the reason why I love this so much is that it kind of harks back to the old Age of Reptiles comics, where it's no dialogue whatsoever. It's just pure, beautiful Godzilla art. Very, they set it up with him falling down into hell with the title card Godzilla in Hell. And that's it. That's all you need to know. It's just Godzilla battling Kaiju in hell. You cannot get better than that.
And there's also, minimal words, only a few sound effects, which is incredible storytelling. And I love how detailed Stacco's art is. It's perfect. It's a great issue. Did you read the rest of the series, Liam?
No, I didn't.
It wasn't very good, the rest of the series. But the first issue...
the first issue was just mind-blowing.
Amazing!
Yeah.
For me, I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum. Last year, I said this was the worst comic of the year. We're not doing that this year because I don't like talking about comics that are poopy. I like talking about comics that are great. And this, my friends, is a great comic. What? Yeah, I know. Remember last year I said Jughead sucked? Well, it doesn't suck anymore. It's got a new creative team. The team of Ryan North, Derek Charm, with beautiful, beautiful art and people that understand Jughead. This was the best single issue of the year because I jumped back on, I'm like, I'm going to give it another go, and and I was like, should I, shouldn't I? And then I opened to the first page, and that's the exact moment when I knew that they understood Jughead. When you have a life-size Jughead made out of hamburgers and pizza, they understand. It's very funny, very well written, and it focuses mainly on Jughead and his love of hamburgers. So much so that he falls in love with Sabrina while dressed as a hamburger.
And I don't think I've heard you laugh this much.
We were sitting in a cafe reading it,
and you're trying to hold in your laughter the whole time, and it's a far cry from when you read the first series where
it made me angry.
Yeah, it was just grunts of frustration and just constant like slamming your fist against the table. You just go, no.
That's not Jughead.
That's not Jughead. My number 5 is rather fitting because I had to wait 5 years for this book to come out, and that is Scarlet Volume 2. And if you remember...
that was one of the first books I ever reviewed on this channel, Volume 1 of Scarlet, 5 years? Well, not yet, I hadn't read it when it straight came out, but 3 or 4 years ago. One of the first books I ever talked about on this channel.
Yeah.
Now finally, Volume number 2. Take your time, why don't you? Is it worth the wait, Liam?
It is. One of the greatest things about Bendis is that he's part of that whole Marvel machine. I think he's the guy who leads the charge there. But also he's got an imprint called Icon, which he releases powers on, and also Scarlet. And this is his way, or Marvel's way of keeping him in their reins, of just being like, okay, we'll allow you to do all these big Marvel events, but you
can do whatever you want under Icon.
You can do whatever you want. You've got the freedom to do whatever. So reading this, you realise that Bendis knows the position that he's put himself in. This is a very political comic. This is very topical. And it is very, very easy for someone in that position to fall flat on their face. But what he achieves with Scarlet is something quite extraordinary, and something that is like when he wrote Daredevil and the whole unmasking of Daredevil, the whole court case that followed that. It was smart and it knew its direction it was going from the get-go, and that is Scarlet to a T. You know he's building towards something big, and that is very, very exciting to read.
Except now, how long to the next book, Liam?
At the very back it says, to be continued next year.
And they'll release it in singles first, so... Yep, another 5 years we can read part 3, so we're worth the wait.
Yeah, well worth the wait and well worth the read. So if you haven't, pick up Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Scarlet.
For me, this is a little series that not many people read. I found out that it's not even released in trade yet. Did you know that?
What? Really?
Yeah, they're just about to release it in January. But it's called Kennel Block Blues. It's from Boom Comics by Ryan Ferrier, Daniel Bayliss, Adam Metcalf, and that's who I really want to have a talk about, Adam Metcalf. The colouring in this book is unbelievable. It's all about a little good boy called Ollie, and he was a good boy, and then he somehow found himself ending up in the pound, in the kennels, and it's kind of done very cleverly in that they're anthropomorphic animals, and he's kind of put himself in this situation where he's in jail, or the kennel, and he doesn't want to deal with the situation, so he goes into this happy little land where everything is sunshine and lollipops and everyone's having a nice time.
It's reminiscent of the old Fleischer cartoons.
Yeah, so I'll kind of show you that first page here where everything's la la la, happy rainbows with the most incredible colouring, and then it shows the reality of where he really is, in that kennel, in a very sad, depressing place. It was a mini-series, a 4-shot, all about Ollie and his adventure in jail. We find out about how he got there, how the other dogs and cats got there, and also go on a jail break.
Whoa.
Who needs prison break when you've got Kennel Block Blues?
And it was fantastic. That first issue was a contender for my favourite single issue of the year. Okay, my number 4 is something that people may not think it's a comic, but I think it falls under that category. It is Tim Goodyear's Video Tonfa, Tales from an Illage Vidiot. And this was just wonderful. This is one I knew nothing about, and I picked up off the shelf just because I
got out of the second-hand bin at work, remember?
Yeah.
You're like, can I have this?
Yeah, and it looked wonderful, and so this was released earlier on this year, I think around May. And it's quite unique because this is someone who just got VHS, and if you follow us on Instagram or anything like that, you'll know how obsessed with films we both are.
Especially VHS, because it's better than Laserdisc. Gonna have an argument.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to books.
Yeah, so what he did was he kept a diary of his films in a notebook, and with each film he watched, he wrote a short review and also recreated the movie poster. And I don't know, I felt this book was kind of hypnotizing. There were ones that I'd seen, and ones that I'd loved, ones that I'd never heard of, and I found that it was a great book to just pick up and just flip to a random page and then read all about Belly, a Hype Williams film.
Oh, that sounds delightful.
Never heard of it. Maybe I'll read it now. Sorry, maybe I'll watch it now.
For me, number 4 is quite surprising if you knew me maybe 3 or 4 years ago, when I used to pay out this comic and think it was all a bit silly. It's Green Lanterns. Now, a few years ago, every year on Liam's birthday, he makes me read something I don't want to read as part of his present because he thinks it's fun.
It's cheap.
And
It's cheap.
he likes to see me reading things I don't usually read. And one of it was Green Lantern. No, it's Green Lantern, not Green Lantern.
It was Rebirth.
It was Rebirth.
Yeah.
I fell in love with Green Lantern, and Sinestro especially, and now I'm in love with Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz, the new Green Lanterns. If I forget to put the S on the end, you know what I mean. In this series, I really enjoy the fact that they're very relatable, that they don't know what they're doing. It's following brand new lanterns, so for people that have never read Green Lanterns before, it's such a great place to jump on. They're releasing the first trade in January, I think. It's got the first 6 or 7 issues. Please, please, please pick it up if you've ever been interested in Green Lanterns. It explores the idea of the different lantern rings and what they mean, what it means to be a Green Lantern. Jessica Cruz herself suffers from anxiety, locked herself in her house for 3 years, not leaving, too terrified to go outside. And as someone that suffers from anxiety, oh my goodness, it was so relatable and so great to see someone overcome her fear and weird thoughts that she may have to be able to battle evil and become the person she needs to be. And then she's got Simon Baz on the other side, who's like, I'm a tough boy, I don't trust this ring, so he carries around a gun, and even though he, has a ring, can do anything, he still doesn't believe in himself or that the ring can protect him, but he should believe in it. I've gone on a rant. So yeah, if you've never read a Green Lantern book because it seemed too daunting or anything like that, pick this up, it's gonna blow your mind. That's my number 5 pick.
Number 4.
4.
Okay, my number 3 is through a publisher that was unfamiliar to me until about 2 seconds ago when I looked at the previous book that was also through Floating World Press.
Really?
So this is Bart Kira, the Nuclear Edition. And you'll notice that it's not Volume 1, it's just Bart Kira. And what this is they put out a call a couple of years ago for artists to recreate Akira, Katsuhiro Otomo's groundbreaking masterpiece, but put a spin on it and set it within this, the Simpsons universe. So you've got Milhouse as Tetsuo, you've got Bart as Kaneda, and for each artist, they were given a page or a few pages.
Yeah.
And so it follows their whole creative process of how they got it started. But then, yeah, here we go. So as you can see, it's just...
No, Ralph, no!
These just... You would never expect it, but these two universes mash up so perfectly. And I can't tell you how often I pick this up and reread it because it's just a big Ralph. Yeah, so it's absolutely incredible. It is a copyright nightmare. So
they can't make money off it, so all the money goes directly to people within Japan.
So it's in a beautiful little hardcover. It's pretty short. It's a great one to flick through, and if you're a huge Akira fan like I am, this is an absolute dream of a book. So it's beautiful, pick it up, but Kira.
For me, this book was very scary. It's by Raina Telgemeier, one of my favourite, if not favourite, comic book creators of all time. She did Smile and Sisters and the remake of the Babysitter's Club books, but this book is a little bit different. It's called Ghosts, and it's the very first book she's done which features a non-realistic element, a supernatural element of ghosts and ghouls and the Festival of the Dead, the Day of the Dead in Mexico. So I was very nervous reading it. I didn't know where she was going with this, and let me just tell you, what did you just say? The tears?
Yeah, the
tears flew freely. It is all about Kat. Who's a lovely young girl who has a sister called Maya who suffers from cystic fibrosis. Now they move states so that her sister can breathe easier, get better care for her cystic fibrosis, and have better access to medical things. And while it's a big change for the family, the biggest change is that there are ghosts and ghouls that start to appear near the Day of the Dead. It becomes very overwhelming for Kat. She wants to try and keep away these ghosts and ghouls from her sister, doesn't want her sister to die, and it's done this incredible job of discussing death with kids in trying to make it not the end of life, that it's not a terrible, scary thing, that death is something that happens and that it's gonna happen and that's okay, and there's things you can do to try and make things better. They make an altar for a family member to celebrate Day of the Dead, and there's this image of everyone staring at the altar and smiling. It's not a sad thing. Everyone's not depressed and upset, but there's their grandma having a wonderful time with all these beautiful gifts they've laid out for her with flowers and candy. And then my favourite panel, where you're all terrified about the young girl dying from her cystic fibrosis complications from that, and then all of a sudden they're at the Day of the Dead and they're celebrating with ghosts and ghouls and dancing and having fun, and then all of a sudden Kat, who has been so terrified of this death looming over her family, is dancing with this mariachi skeleton band, and everyone is dressed to the nines and having fun, and it's bright and exciting. I think it's just such a lovely, warming, heartwarming book, and I just implore you to pick it up. Please, please, please. It's Ghosts by Raina Telgemeier.
My number 2 is another book that touches on very dark subject matter, and that is Dark Knight, a true Batman story. And if you're unfamiliar with Paul Dini, he is the co-creator of Harlequin and also one of the head writers on the Batman, the animated series. And if you were to look at this and go, oh, it's just another Batman book, you would be very, very wrong. This is a true story of Paul Dini. He, one night while going home from work at the Batman the Animated Series, he was mugged and nearly murdered. And this is all about his recovery, but he does it in a very unique way. He doesn't want you to feel sorry for him.
And he does not portray himself very well at all in how he treated women, how he treated himself.
Yeah.
He gives so much of his personal life in that book. And I actually got to go and hear him speak about that book about a month ago in Melbourne. And even then, he was so brutally honest about his feelings towards everything. It's just very full on to read.
Yeah, and one of my favourite things about it is, as I said before, he's one of the head writers on the Batman the Animated Series. His subconscious is voiced by various villains in the Batman universe. So you've got Two-Face, you've got Penguin, you've got, of course, the Joker, and they have their true voice. It's like you're watching the animated series. They're talking exactly the way they would talk. They're bringing up all the parts of his life that they would bring up as those characters, and it's just a wonderful book.
My number 2 is, again, the complete opposite to Liam's.
Mm-hmm.
It's a book by a local Australian creator called Georgina Rex, who happens to be a friend of mine, which I am very blessed to say. It is a book all about fandom and what we do with our obsessions, and it's called Harry Potter and My Childhood Obsession. Georgina Rex, was very, very obsessed, still is, very obsessed with Harry Potter to the point where she used to hand draw little characters to make her own game and laminate them. She laminated the receipt to her Harry Potter book so it would never get wrecked. Yes, that's a real deal. So this focuses on what it's like to grow up loving a fandom and all about the lengths she went to for a love for Harry Potter. It's so adorable and so relatable. As someone that was very, very obsessed with a band called Hanson, still am, I was at the same extreme and saw myself in this book so very much. I waited so long to get a copy of it printed in my hand. I must have read it honestly like 10 times digitally online. It's very, very fun, and yeah, if you're a fan of anything, you will relate to this very, very much.
And my number one, it's a bit of a cheat. I discovered this series this year, so I think it counts.
Alright, I'll let you have it.
It is KPRE by Michael Fife. And the reason why I love this series so much is that it is comics in their purest form. It is a self-published series that started in 2013, and the way Michael Fife approaches his work is that he sees it as you should not rewrite, you should not rework things, you should just let the creative process flow.
That's cool.
And he churns out pages. He decided to release a monthly comic way back in 2013, has kept up with it, and it's all about being proactive, and it's all about just pushing yourself and seeing your limits. Yeah, here we go. I don't even know this character's name. Anyway, I just love the design of this character. Look at this guy. Little pyramid head. Look at his little spiky shorts.
The time has come, people. It's time for the award for Big Banana in the Sky.
We should have had like fishing wire in.
It's Hippopotamista by John Patrick Green. Now, it looks like it's an illustrated book, like, what do you call it? Yeah, a book for children's, which it is. But it's also a delightful tale about a hippopotamus named Hippo that lives at the zoo. Now, Hippo the hippopotamus doesn't want to be at the zoo anymore. He wants to get a new job. Hence, all the tiny hats for all the jobs that he tries out. He's going to try and be a fireman in a beret. He's going to be a dentist. He's going to have a friend who is a red panda. And he also is an astronaut and all these things. And he realizes that he's not very good at any of these jobs. He's not going to have any of these jobs. He just has to go back to the zoo. So he goes back to the zoo, all sad. I'm ruining the story, but it's okay. You'll read it. No, it's fine.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's a charming read for all ages. And it also has activities in the back for kiddos or perhaps people that want to draw Hippopotamista. You can learn to draw Red Panda. There's more activities online. It's by First Second, and it is my favourite book I read this year. So that's it, everyone. That's our favourite books for 2016. What a year it's been. It's time to eat this banana and start reading new books. I've got an entire shelf to read. There's banana went everywhere. Mitch is going to kill you. Oh my god.
Mitch is a laid-back guy.
Thank you for joining us on this merry of days. Happy New Year. And we will catch you same bat time, same bat channel later this week.